Good day, everyone. How is your day and how is your day going? I'm Paul Clement. I'll be your instructor for this course throughout this series. I built this tutorial class due to a necessity. Right now, I'll be going through a quick overview of all the topic we'll be covering today throughout this series. This series is going to take us approximately 4 to 5 months to 6 months to complete due to a series of architectures and frameworks that we have to cover. I'll quickly run down. We have over 31 topics, and each of these topics has a minimum of 4 to 5 lectures. Some of them have more than 6 to 7 lectures that would have to cover, and each of them have a minimum time frame of 15 to 20 minutes. So it's a whole lot of lectures we have to go through. We will cover the entire Java, everything you need to know about Java. Any other framework that will come up, you'll be very effective to run with. We'll go through. Our first step is going to be the introduction. We'll move into the setup, and then the setup, which is going to cover the entire installation process, the tools we need for the entire course. We'll be making use of NetBeans all through the series of this course. NetBeans IDE. If you are used to Eclipse, you are free to do so. We'll also cover the installation of Eclipse also. And basically, we're making use of NetBeans for this course. The introduction is going to cover everything about the history about Java, what Java is used for, where you need to use Java, the components that makes use of Java. I believe you already know that Java covers over 3 billion devices, from your smartphones to your televisions to a lot of things in which you don't even know about that makes use of Java. So the first step, which is going to cover our first Hello World application, where you and I are going to build our first application that will display Hello World on the console. We'll move into variables, data type, and operators. Once we get out of the data types and operators, we'll go into expression, statement, code block, and methods. Once we move out of code blocks and methods, we'll move into control flow statements, where we have for, if, loops, all of that. And then we'll move into the first part of the object-oriented programming, OOP. We'll move into what classes. We'll know what classes. We'll go into constructors in a class, and we'll go into inheritance. And then we'll now move into the OOP part 2, object-oriented programming part 2. We'll go into composition, encapsulation, polymorphism, and then we'll look at where to use encapsulation. We'll look at where to use composition, and we'll look at where to make use of polymorphism. We'll look at the different applications that will require polymorphism, or different application or status that will require encapsulation or composition in building our Java application. And we move into array, move into Java inbuilt list, auto boxing and unboxing. At this point, we'll start automation in Java. At this point, if you join us up to this point, you should be able to work as an assistant to a programmer, in which you will be a sub-programmer to the developer who is building the system. You should be able to handle some entry-level projects. And then when we move out of there, we'll move into inner and abstract classes. We'll go into interface. We'll move into Java generics. We'll move into naming convention, package, statics, final keywords, and we'll go into Java collections. Then we'll now move into the actual testing, exception, and documentation. At this point, you are already a pro core Java developer. At this point, when we move into testing, encapsulation, and documentation, you can build any application of your choice. From here, we'll now go into exploring Java libraries. We'll look into different libraries that Java has, what their functions. We'll move into different APIs. We'll also look into Hibernate and all of that, or third-party libraries, and move into database communication, how we can communicate with the database and get input right to the database. And then once we get out of there, we'll now go into basic input and output, including Java util in Java programming. When we get out of here is going to cover getting users data input and several of Java util classes. And once we get out of there, we'll get into file I/O. In here, we'll now get into handling file writing files, uploading files, handling Word documents. In your Java class, we'll move into input and output streams. And then when we get out of the file I/O, we'll now get into threading. At this point, we'll now handle multi-threading. We'll know what threading is. We'll know when to use multi-threading. We'll know the functionalities of threading and how efficient and how it could help us build scalable applications. And we'll now move into concurrency in Java. Now, once we get into concurrency, we'll now know how to handle concurrency issues, problems that comes up in concurrency, exceptions handling in concurrency, and then we'll now move into regular expressions. Then we get into Lambda expressions, and we all know that Lambda expression is Java 8, and then from there, this course is just going to give you so much for let me just say for free, because this entire course is like pulling the entire Java into your memory, and then you just hold it in your hands. Once we move out of Lambda, we'll move into Java Web. We'll be covering the entire JSF framework. We'll be in JSF framework. We'll look into the XMLs, the configuration, the entire the JSF framework is going to be an entire course of its own, still embedded inside of this course, so that we are going to cover the entire web framework, and we are going to make sure that we cover JSP. We'll talk a little bit about JSP, but our main focus is going to be on JSF, which is the upgrade of JSP, since JSP has been phased out. Although some applications, some companies still make use of JSP due to they have not yet upgraded into the updated version of JSF, which is an updated version of JSP. So we'll now when we move out of this, we'll now get into building scalable web application. At this point, we'll now come into not just programming, we'll come into software engineering. We'll come to understand the history of software engineering. We'll come to know how software is being built, the things you need to consider before you start building the software. You will come to understand the concept of building scalable application. We'll come to understand stop services. We'll come to understand a lot about application building, what it takes to build an application. When we get out of here, we'll move into what is Docker. Once we get out of Docker, we'll walk into what is Google Cloud, Shell, and Kubernetes. At this point, we'll explore the entire Google Cloud architecture, how to deploy our own VMwares and all of that, working with Kubernetes, Google Cloud Containers Engine, I believe by now we all know, you should know that majority of the services are running on containers, and the entire one server system has been phased out, and we are moving into the entire container system. So the future of web development and the future of software development is moving into container system. So, and once we get out of there, we move into clustering with Kubernetes. Project will be once we get the project we'll be working with will be a WordPress project, or we might choose to build our own project from scratch, on depending on what we will decide to do. And then once we move that, we'll dive deep into Kubernetes project, uh, a Ghost book using PHP, and then we'll move out of there to Kubernetes conclusion. We'll conclude what Kubernetes is. We'll just do a brief summary of the entire Kubernetes course, and then the bonus, the bonus section will now cover things, challenges that you might get in software engineering. Basically, we'll now cover some areas of business approach in software engineering, how to make money out of the knowledge you've gotten out of companies, your salary basis, what is it, the basic about business on software engineering. Then once we get out of the bonus package, we'll now look into the mobile development, in which our first course is going to be the Android development. So thank you very much. See you in the class.